All right, that was President Obama wrapping up about a 10-minute speech. He came to the podium to talk about the Affordable Care Act, if I may, just for a second. He described what tomorrow will likely look like. He said federal workers, their paychecks will be delayed. He said that several 100,000 workers will be furloughed. He pointed out that Social Security checks will still go out. National parks will shut down. The economy will be hurt. He also talked about the House. He talked about how the House cannot shut down Obamacare. He said he outlined the provisions of Obamacare that he found important, maybe some of the less controversial provisions, and he summed it up with the bottom line: he's willing to work to make sure the Affordable Care Act works better. He called Obamacare our basic responsibility, and that we should never threaten the full faith and credit of the United States government. Kimberly, I'm not sure that he was talking to. Who was he talking to? Let me ask you that.
No, he was talking to his supporters to let them know that he's still engaging in this fight. He was further defining with the stroke of a brush who the bad guys are in this. People that want to shut the government down, the obstructionists, the people who are the extreme right that are very dangerous, that are the ones that are undermining the government and everything that we're supposed to be taking care of and responsible for. But he didn't take any questions because he doesn't want to really hear what anybody else has to say.
Greg, you're pointing out some interesting comments he made. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, whenever this happens, they act like this is a horrible thing that's never happened before. The government shut down 7 times when Tip O'Neill was around, and obviously remember '94, Bill Clinton, it shut down for a long period of time. The government was closed while his pants remained open. But it's a horror movie that you keep seeing over and over and over again. And they keep saying, and Bob keeps saying, it's the law of the land. But the law keeps changing. He's changed it more times, I don't know, than Bob's facts. You know, it's just like, how can it be the law of the land if it's constantly changing? And then I have one other point about, I'm for the shutdown if you get the money back. Like, where does the money go when the government is not working? Does it go to some secret place? It's like holding back a fart. You know, it disappears with no relief. I want to know where the money goes.
All right, that's a good intro for you, Bob. President Obama, the one line that really kind of resonated with me, he said, Obamacare is our basic responsibility. You agree?
Well, okay, let's try to put this all in somewhat of perspective. We're beginning with the idea of a continuing resolution about keeping the government open. What is stalling on that is that the House, in the form of a very extreme wing of the party, is holding up because they want to use that vehicle to keep the government open to change Obamacare. Now, the Senate says no. Obama says no. Obamacare starts tomorrow. It's already funded. They can't do anything about that. So the question, I think, is it is about Obamacare, but it's really about keeping the government open or closed. And the other thing, I think, when he talks about, he sent a message out about the debt ceiling, but we're still 17 days away from the debt ceiling.
Yeah, his last line was, he threw the debt ceiling. He said, no, we should never put the full faith and credit of the United States at risk. Jedediah Bila is sitting in for Dana Perino tonight. Jedediah, what your thoughts on President Obama's speech?
The line that I love is when he talks about the shutdown and he says that it's a real economic impact on real people. Yeah, guess what? So is Obamacare. That's what this whole fight's about. It's about the economic impact, negative economic impact on small businesses, shifting workers from full-time to part-time status of Obamacare. And I think it's also really interesting that he presents, when the right has something to say, it's presented as an ideological battle, not a practical policy battle. When the left has something to say, it's always presented as a tangible, practical battle. That's simply not true. We're talking about policy, we're talking about bad policy, and we finally have Republicans willing to fight to defund something that stinks.
Now, allow me, Greg. Greg pointed out that it's a law, Bob, but it's the law that keeps changing. People keep getting exempt from the law. The unions are exempt. Some states are, different groups, special interest groups are getting exempt. Why should that be a law? By the way, a law that was passed with 0 Republican votes.
Well,
0, not a 1.
Laws are passed by majorities, aren't they? Not? Are they not? In the end, I think what we're looking here is, you don't like this law. I understand that. The Republicans don't like it. I understand that. But tomorrow morning, there are millions of Americans who are going to go and try to get, who do not have health insurance or have marginal health insurance, who are going to try to get some. And it seems to me we have a responsibility here. You want to continue to beat up on it, fine. If you want to change it, go out and elect people who will change it.
I agree with you. This really is it is about elections, and that's kind of the sobering reality for Republicans. By the way, if they want to get that medical device repealed, include golf clubs in that, and Obama would agree. The fact is, the law is expensive, unwieldy, and it's full of glitches. In other words, it's a liberal success. The best argument Republicans have is that Obama has tinkered with this monster already. He's delayed this. He's cut that. He makes Dr. Frankenstein look like an amateur hobbyist. You know, why can't the Republicans tinker with it? Why can't they add a rider that says you in Congress have to accept Obamacare as your coverage? Why can't you?
Yeah, because they don't want to accept it.
Bob points out it's a
Yeah.
law, you got to deal with it. And then Greg very astutely points out this is about politics. What we've shown here, what we've exposed here, or they have, is that there are two different factions in the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
There are those on the right, the Ted Cruz's, the Tea Partiers, Rand Paul, and the like, who want to say, you know what, even if it is a law, we still have fight in us.
But they want to
And
stand on
And
principle.
we still want to fight
Yeah.
the fight, the good fight.
And the reason is because they believe that it is deeply flawed, that it is injurious to the American economy, and I believe ultimately to the middle class who will bear the burden of this. So, yeah, they should stand on principle if that's what they want to do. But if it was just about partisanship, they'd be more worried about the whole party going forward in unison to try and do something together.
The fact is that nobody at this table knows what the outcome of this law is going to be. What we do know, in fact, is, as I repeat this, tomorrow there will be people by the millions signing up for health insurance for the first time. And it seems to be we have a responsibility not to sit here and argue about this person and that person, what the Republicans are doing, but to explain how these exchanges work and how they can get insurance.
Tomorrow we could all get free bicycles. We could give 50 million bicycles.
And the point
it's
is,
not our responsibility to say who pays for
But
those.
also the point is, let's just say we give free bicycles. Jenna, we give free bicycles. Do you ever take them back if they don't work?
Well, that's the problem. Once you roll this out, this is what the Republicans like the Ted Cruz's and the Mike Lees are saying. The reason you need to fight now is because once this gets out there, once this starts to be implemented, we're never going to be able to roll it back. This bad policy is going to multiply. Premiums are already up. And Bob, you said we're not seeing the results of this yet. Unfortunately, we are. We're seeing the workers shift over to part-time status. We're seeing premiums rise. We're seeing that all the quality of care is going to decrease. It's just going to get worse.
You're seeing very small numbers, but can I just make just one point here about, do we have a responsibility? Again, you know, Greg, you say it's like giving away a free bike. You know what this really is? Let's be honest about this. This is the Republicans don't like entitlements. And they don't want another entitlement to get out there that they can't reverse.
Well, this is
about
the first
Social
time,
Security and Medicare.
Thank you for calling it what it really is. It's an entitlement program.
I've said it's an entitlement program.
Bob, but that's not the perception. That's not
The
way
octopus has just grown another tentacle.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why the Republicans don't
we
want
can't
it out
afford.
there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We got to go. We have so much more on this. Don't go away. Stay with us. That clock right in front.
clock.
That clock, if you can take that.
Blocking my leg.
That clock strikes zero. The government shuts down, folks, if they don't get a deal. Stick around. We'll be right back.